Hello, welcome once again to Lehto's Law. I'm Steve Lehto. Today we're going to talk about scam emails. Scam emails, we get them all the time, but they do evolve, and sometimes they get more entertaining. And I got a funny one this morning. I'd never seen quite this form before. We'll talk about that. But the interesting thing is there have been scam emails ever since email was invented. And pretty much ever since the internet has been around, we've had these things. And if you're old like me, you remember that before email and the internet, we had fax machines. And you used to actually get these same scams via fax. You'd get a fax that would come into your office and it'd say, this is a guy in Nigeria, and I've got this trunk filled with cash, and I just need your help getting it out of the country. Never any good explanation as to why they chose your fax machine out of the millions of fax machines in North America. But, over time, those same scammers drifted onto the internet. So about a month or two ago, I started getting these funny emails. They'd say, hey, bad news. We've hacked your email. We've infiltrated your computer. We now have copies of everything you've done in the last month or two. We have, your contact list. Don't try contacting us because, number one, you can't because we sent you this from your email. And number two, deposit $650 in Bitcoin into this account, and we'll leave you alone. If you don't, we're going to reveal everything to your friends and relatives that you've been doing on the computer. And of course, I've never gone into this on this channel because in my mind it's just like, well, it's the latest evolution. What are you going to do? So there's a bunch of problems there. Of course, one of them is they go, we've hacked your email. Notice we sent you an email from your own email address. I'm hoping everyone out there knows that that's like saying if I mailed you an envelope and I wrote the return address as you, that I could say, hey, look, you sent yourself a letter. And the funny thing is that I have actually had old email addresses I haven't used in 20 years, literally 20 years. And I'll get a thing saying, we've compromised your email account. And they list that email address I haven't used in over 20 years. But then they send it from my current email address, supposedly. And then they say that they needed $650 in Bitcoin. The weirdest thing is I don't carry any Bitcoin on me, so I don't know how to help you. But the one I got this morning, and again, I understand most people know how scam emails work. And I know most of you know this stuff. But what scares me is that if you send out 1 million scam emails in a day, which I'm sure many of them send out more than that, that the big majority of them are going to be looked at by people like me and go, just throw them away. But there are people out there obviously respond to this stuff on some level, otherwise they wouldn't do it. So whenever I see the emails morph into a different form, it entertains me. But I also think it's worth mentioning. So I got an email this morning, and I'll post a screen grab of the email to show you. But across the top is this artwork of the CIA, the Central Intelligence Agency. And for those of you who don't know, the CIA is a federal agency that is supposed to only conduct itself overseas. They're not supposed to operate domestically. And they're generally speaking the intelligence gathering arm of the federal government operating outside our borders. Okay? So the CIA logo is all the way across this email at the top, and it's from a guy who calls himself Joshua Mercado. And it says, subject, Central Intelligence Agency case, and it's got a case number, 84163295. That makes it official. It's got a case number. And the email says, distribution and storage of pornographic electronic materials involving underage children. Oh my, that sounds serious. My name is Joshua Mercado, and I am a technical collection officer working for Central Intelligence Agency. If you speak English, you know that there's a missing article there. It should say I'm a collection officer working for the Central Intelligence Agency. Okay? Didn't say that, but that's okay. Maybe he's in a hurry trying to protect me. It has come to my attention that your personal details, including your email address, lehto@kennan.com, are listed in case number 84162395. Oh no, my email address is out there, despite the fact it's on my website. The following details are listed in the documents attachment. Your personal details, home address, work address, list of relatives and their contact information. So this CIA operative says that the CIA is investigating child pornography. and my email address is in the file somehow. Case number 8416239 is part of a large international operation set to arrest more than 2,000 individuals suspected of pedophilia in 27 countries. Wait a second. A minute ago, it was child pornography distribution and storage, but now it's pedophilia? Those are two different things, my friend. You might want to buy a dictionary. The data which could be used to acquire your personal information. This makes no sense. They've already got it, they said. Your ISP web browsing history, DNS queries history and connection logs. DNS is domain name server. It's a reference to the actual web addresses underneath, like the name Lehto'sLaw.com is the name of the website, but when you do a search for Lehto's Law, the computer actually sends out a thing with a DNS number. It's like the address for the internet. Deepweb.onion browsing and or connection sharing. I've heard of the deep web, but I've never been there. Online chat room logs. Do they still have chat rooms? I remember being in chat rooms on AOL. And that's how, I remember, chatting with people. Chat room logs. Social media activity log. So this guy might have access to my Facebook. Woo! Now here's the scary part. Hold on. We shouldn't make fun of an insider at the CIA who's trying to tip me off here. The first arrests are scheduled for April 8th. So I'll tell you right now, today's not April 8th. Today is a week or two before April 8th. I hate to date my videos, but the first arrests are scheduled for April 8th, 2019. So he's giving me a good 2-3 weeks warning here. Now he says, why am I contacting you? It's a rhetorical question, but I'm glad he asked that question on my behalf because I was going to ask it myself. I read the documentation and I know you are a wealthy person who may be concerned about reputation. Again, he's missing words. It should say you are a wealthy person who may be concerned about your reputation. But likewise, his information tells them that I'm wealthy? The CIA thinks I'm wealthy? If that's true, the agency's not operating properly. Okay. I am one of several people who have access to those documents, and I have enough security clearance to amend and remove your details from this case. Here is my proposition. So this man, who's a technical collection officer named Joshua Mercado, by the way, he has access to these files. Transfer $10,000 US, and he does spell it out, $10,000, just in case I couldn't read the numbers, which is about 2.5 Bitcoin, through Bitcoin network to this special Bitcoin address, and he gives a Bitcoin address here, $10,000. You can transfer funds with online Bitcoin exchanges such as Coinbase, Bitstamp, or CoinMama. Well, can't I use Mt. Gox like I've always been using? The deadline, there's a deadline. Hold on a second. I didn't realize this is a deadline. The deadline is March 27th, 2019. He says, I need a few days to access and edit the files. Okay, so the deadline is March 27th. Upon confirming your transfer, I will take care of all the files linked to you, and you can rest assured no one will bother you. By the way, one of the reasons that you know that these things are BS, besides all the other reasons we'll talk about, is if a blackmailer asks you for money and says, give me $10,000, the second you give it to them, they say, oh, give me another $10,000. And you say, well, wait, I just gave you 10. They go, so? Is there some code of conduct you think blackmailers follow that I can only blackmail you once? Give me another 10. If you don't, I'm going to release all the information. Nothing changes. So obviously you could never give a blackmailer X money, even if they did have information about you. Do you like the way I brought my voice up? Even if they did have information against you. Now here's the cool part. It goes, please do not contact me. I will contact you and confirm only when I see the valid transfer. How would I contact the guy? The guy's imaginary, okay, first of all. But second of all, and by the way, to make you think that his thing is legitimate, He's attached the Great Seal of the CIA, which I'm sure you're aware. You can't just find that that image there on the internet and just right click on it and save the file as a JPEG and then just put it in your own directory and then add it to an email. You couldn't do that, obviously, because that'd be impossible. So the funny thing, of course, is that Joshua Mercado, who is the technical collections specialist at the CIA, has an email address which has a whole bunch of gibberish after it, but the last 2 digits are what I'm looking at here, the last 2 characters in his email address. And this is the thing that I should tell you to do, whether you're savvy or not. Whenever you get an email that you're curious about, best examples are, I have 2 banks that I do banking with, actually 3. And every now and then I get an email from one of them that says, your account has been compromised. Click here to update your information. But I also get those about banks that I don't have accounts with. So once in a while they get lucky and they put one in my inbox that actually says, your account's been compromised, and it's my bank. If you put your cursor on top of the item where they want you to link, don't click on it, but just put your cursor there and watch what pops up in the bottom left hand of your screen, because let's suppose your bank is First National Bank and their website's, firstnational.com. I'm making stuff up here, folks. You put the cursor on the logo here and look what pops up. It's going to say something like first-national.grm.ru, and it won't be the address for your bank. So if you actually got one that appeared to be from your bank, the first thing you do is you delete the email and go to your bank and see, your bank's actual website. But you can always put the cursor on the links in the emails. Don't click on them. Just look at them, and you'll see that, oh, this website down here is not the same one they're purporting to be up here. So you know the email's a scam. So if you're curious about Joshua Mercado at uigz-gov.tk, you might ask yourself, wait, TK, the CIA is located in TK? Well, TK is Tokelau, and I could be mispronouncing that. It's an island near New Zealand. In fact, I believe they're under the jurisdiction of New Zealand. Tokelau, Tokelau, and they are an island near New Zealand that has their own domain extension. And they're one of those places that got an extension, but there's so few people there, they're never going to use it. So they just basically said, hey, anybody who wants to use a TK address can buy a domain from us, and we'll let you use it, and who cares? There's a couple other ones that became popular like that, but TK is apparently one of the later ones that's been used by a lot of scammers. And so, obviously, most government websites have got a .gov at the end of them, NHTSA.gov. If I had to guess, I'm guessing the CIA nowadays actually probably does have a website. It's probably CIA.gov. But it's certainly not uigz.cia-gov. I'm sorry, I missed one. .it.tk. So if I were to believe this email as being real, the CIA runs all its email through a small island off the coast of New Zealand called Tokelau. So I'm not going to be sending $10,000 to Joshua Mercado. I don't believe that any of my information, including my personal details, home address, work address, or lists of relatives and their contact information, would be in a criminal file anywhere, let alone at the CIA. Because, among other things, the CIA does not investigate domestic crimes. The law enforcement branch of our government is the FBI. So my advice to Joshua Mercado, if you're watching my video, is to change CIA to FBI. It would at least make more sense. But it's nonsense. So I've obviously never trafficked in pornographic materials involving underage children. So I don't care about this email, other than I think it's entertaining to look at. So like I said, I get dozens of crazy ones each day, but this is the first time I've gotten one from the CIA. So if you get funny emails, let's talk about them below. Otherwise, talk to you later. Hope you enjoyed it. Bye-bye.